From the studios of Tucson Business RadioX, recorded in the Stewart Title corporate offices on Broadway, you are now listening to The Mark Bishop Show. And now here's your host, Mark Bishop.
Well, folks, I want to ask you this. Are you in a healthy relationship with your money? Well, a new survey out finds nearly all Americans feel that they can improve their financial health. Nela Richardson is a PhD, smart lady, investment strategist, equity research for Edward Jones, is an investment expert. And we're going to talk to her about some tools that you may need for success. And just a little on her so we know who we're dealing with here. Nela joined Edward Jones back in 2018. As an investment strategist, she analyzes and interprets economic trends and market conditions. You got to keep an eye on this stuff. And she identifies risks and opportunities and recommends strategies to help, you, me, clients reach their long-term financial goals. That's very important these days. Welcome, Nela.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
It seems, Nela, that if my listeners have mixed emotions when it comes to their relationship with money, they're not alone. According to the new Relationship with Money survey conducted by financial services firm Edward Jones, nearly all Americans, some 92% feel there's room for improvement when it comes to their financial health. What say you? Any tips as well, Nela?
Well, that's correct about our survey. 81% of people felt in control of their current financial situation, but still felt that there is room to improve, over 92% of our respondents. And when you unpack those numbers a bit, only 1 in 5, 21%, feel happy when thinking about saving money. The rest of us, 4 out of 5 people, feel a range all over the map of emotions, from confidence, which is great, to anxiety, to feeling overwhelmed. What was key in our survey, the key finding, is that emotions really dominate our relationship with money. It's not only something we see in terms of spending and saving, we also see it in the investment side. People think that it's really the market that controls their progress to long-term financial goals. It's more your emotions during all kinds of market conditions that really tease up success in reaching your.
Well, we're talking about this new Relationship with Money survey. Most unusual. I mean, it's really about the psychology, isn't it? I mean, money, we're not allowed to make money as kids. It's dirty and all this. But what are the most compelling results, do you think, that jumped out to you?
There were a lot of things in the survey that was important. It wasn't surprising that people had such an emotional response to saving and spending. I mean, people often report feeling stressed out or anxious or overwhelmed. We're constantly making these trade-offs between short-term needs and long-term goals. But what was interesting is that 74% of Americans feel open to talking about their finances. And younger people were even more willing to talk about finances. When I was growing up, you never talked about money.
No, that's right.
Whatever
we
you
didn't.
learned about money, you watched your parents. You saw how they spent their money. Sometimes you did exactly what your parents did. Sometimes you tried to do the opposite of what your parents did. But it was never freely discussed. And for me, that's a key to unlocking really financial health and well-being, is talking about money and sharing that, your emotions about money with people you trust.
I agree with you implicitly on that, because I think there's too many arguments and pressure that causes the arguments in a home based on money. And growing up as a kid, I mean, I didn't see much of that, but I was, I definitely heard a little bit, and it was always about money. And you think, well, gee, I don't like this money thing. It hurts mom and dad a little bit, or somebody else. But 75% of millennials, 66% of Gen Xers, they reported having emergency savings. That surprises me. And of those Americans who do have emergency savings, nearly 1/3 do not have enough saved to cover a month's expenses. Well, that'd frighten the devil out of me. What about you?
It does. I mean, there's some good. This is a real mixed bag result, isn't it?
Is it ever?
Millennials are saving and recognizing the importance of emergency savings, to me, that's not surprising because remember, this generation watched their parents go through the Great Recession, maybe lose a job, maybe lose a home. And so what we found across the board is millennials are actually conservative investors and frequent savers. So debunking some of that myth about millennials. But it's not encouraging to know that over 1/3 of folks don't have enough money saved to cover even basic needs over a month. We recommend having enough savings and emergency fund for 3 to 6 months of expense, really being ready for the unexpected in life. And so the fact that 1/3 of folks are under-saving by a very basic measure is really concerning.
Yeah. Yeah, you're spot on there. My son just bought a home and he said, well, I know you want to give me advice. What's your biggest thing? I said, well, to be honest with you, I know you love your job and you think everything's terrific and forever. Let me tell you, son, nothing's forever. Here's the deal. Don't go out for a while. Save as much as you can. Put away 3 to 6 months worth of your mortgage payments and have them as a backup. Because if anything goes wrong, you've got time to breathe without pressure and so on. I think that's a good bit of advice, don't you?
That is great advice. Your son is very lucky to get that advice from you because you live long enough and you know that things don't always go according to plan, and
that's
having
right.
an account to be that buffer between you and reality is really important.
You also recommend, Nela, that to develop a sound financial strategy, get someone that can help you reduce the anxiety and maybe turn it around for you, make you, feel empowered instead.
Right. We have 3 tips, and one is just knowing yourself. You talked about how money affects relationships between partners or in families, but really the first step is knowing your own individual relationship with money, because you're going to bring that baggage into whatever relationship. Hopefully it's good baggage. It might be negative baggage, but you're going to bring it into your relationship with your partner.
Well,
be honest there?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you feel about it?
An accountability partner. This is another one of your tips. An accountability partner, keeps an eye on you, keeps you on track to reaching your goals. I mean, is it always the fiance or the guy you live with or the girl you live with, do you think? I mean, who's the best person for that?
Well, it depends on who you trust and what you value, right? So it could be your partner. It could be a trusted family member. It could be your dad who's giving you already great advice. It could be a financial advisor, someone who can provide an objective opinion in terms of your finances. What's key is that you're talking about it and you've identified someone you trust that holds you accountable. And, when you're talking about behavioral change, it's important to have an accountability partner. We already do this when we go into the gym or start a diet or try to run a marathon. So why not do it when it comes to one of the biggest financial decisions, or the big part of our decision making, which is financial decision making, having an accountability partner to keep us on track.
That's very good advice. And by the way, these tips, Nela, are they on the www.edwardjones.com/relationship site?
Absolutely. We are a financial services firm who understands and believes in the power of relationships. And that is shown by that edwardjones.com/relationship, because it really is about your relationship with money.
What are the warning signs that start really showing that you're in an unhealthy relationship with your money?
Well, it's a mix of right brain and left brain. Start with the emotional side of it. If you feel in control of your money, that's an indication that you have a healthy relationship with money. If you feel like your money is controlling you, that could be a key sign that something needs to change or improve. You want to be proactive, not reactive. And if you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, it could be a matter of you're not making enough money, which is a concern. But it could also be you're not spending it in the right way, which brings me to another sign, making sure that just like a partner, that the money is holding up its side of the deal, fulfilling its role in your relationship, which is helping you cover and meet basic expenses and helping you achieve long-term goals. If your money isn't doing that for you, that's another sign that the relationship isn't working.
Oh, fair enough. It's standing out. So before we go, I'd like to ask you, what are the 3 steps do you think that we should take to improve our financial health? What are the first 3?
Well, we've talked about much of it. First is just recognizing who you are as a person. Be honest with yourself. How does money make you feel? How does saving make you feel? Because what you want to do is you want to take the emotions out of the equation. And if you can't do that unless you identify and recognize those emotions. Once those emotions are out of your decision making, you can go to that second step, which is having a sound financial plan. We're all making trade-offs, no matter how much money we make. Well, maybe billionaires, they're not making trade-offs, but the rest of us in our survey, we're making trade-offs between short-term needs, short-term goals, and long-term expenses. And so instead of feeling stressed, instead of feeling anxious about those trade-offs, having a plan will help you feel empowered. You take control over your financial future. You say to yourself, I'm going to pay off debt, and then I'm going to build a savings account, and I'm going to do it within this time frame. That'll help you feel empowered instead of being controlled. And then again, just having someone keep you on track. It's hard to do this stuff alone. Having a family member, a friend, or a financial advisor is key.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, our guest, ladies and gentlemen, obtained a master's degree in economics from the University of Pennsylvania and a bachelor's degree from Indiana University, Bloomington, where she was a triple major, do you mind, in mathematics. Oh, I hate mathematics, economics, and philosophy. See, you put those 3 together, and this is why she can do what she does. And, you know, Nela regularly provides insight on the market, the economy, real estate trends, and public policy to policymakers, consumers, and the media. Bloomberg, CNBC, she's all over the place. We're lucky to have her today. I want to ask you one last question, and then I want to remind people where they can go to read more, study more, and copy a picture there. Valentine's Day is coming up, and, you know, even though this is a podcast and it will go next year, but there's always a Valentine's Day, and there's also other days that you celebrate. But what advice do you have for those that want to celebrate their partner without spending more than they can afford?
Don't let the emotion of the day be stressed because you're stressed out about how much dinner is costing you. Really be about the emotion that you want, is the love emotion, and that starts with many of the tips we talked about. Having a plan, having a budget for the day. This is a short-term goal, right? It's a short-term event. It may last for 3 hours after work, but it's only one day, maybe the weekend if you're feeling very generous. But it's not enough to derail your long-term financial goals or your spending for 2020. So having a budget for the day in place is important. Think about how you can cut costs without cutting the experience. For my husband and I, it was about ordering food in and inviting over another couple and having a festive dinner at home so we didn't have to pay for a babysitter. For another person, it could be foregoing a store-bought Valentine's Day card, which can be expensive, and writing a poem, which is free. So think about ways, maybe cooking a romantic dinner that can help save costs and still help you celebrate that special day with that special person.
There you go. There you go. Good on you, Nela. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Today on the Mark Bishop Show, we've had Nela Richardson, a PhD investment strategist, equity researcher with Edward Jones, and an investment expert. Read more. Check it out, www.edwardjones.com/relationship. Lovely speaking with you, Nela.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. Have a lovely day. Bye now.